I'm going to be remaking every item into mobs in Minecraft. First item we're going to make into a mob is a lava bucket. First we'll add the lava inside the bucket, then we can start making his arms. And I'm going to make his arms coming out from the lava. Now we can add his hands and we'll give him some fingers as well. Then we'll just copy it to the other side. Now we can start to work on his mouth. So I'll just make an opening in the middle like this and give him a bottom lip. Now I'll just make sure to color the inside of the bucket so it's lava. Then I'll give him some angry looking eyebrows and we'll add in his eyes as well. Next I'll add in some detail like lava dripping from his mouth. Now all that's left is to add some texture to him, and I think this is looking pretty good. Let's add him to the game. This is how the lava bucket mob looks in game, and this guy is looking pretty mean. The lava bucket is also pretty cool as when he walks, the blocks under him change to either lava or magma, which you definitely don't want him walking around in a forest or a jungle. He's also really powerful as he has this range attack that just kills anything that is around him, and he's also immune to lava and fire because, you know, he's a lava bucket. If you manage to kill one of these, he'll drop a lava bucket because obviously what else would he drop? Overall, I think the lava bucket looks pretty good, so I think I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10. He turned out pretty good. Next item I'm going to change is a golden apple. First we'll start by making the outline for the apple, then we'll fill in the inside. Okay, now that we have the apple, we can start to give it some legs, and we'll give him some feet as well. Next I'll add a stem to the top of his head. Okay, now we just need to color, so I'll color the outline red and orange, and I'll make sure to color it to the back as well. Then I'll change the color of the apple to more of a golden color. Next let's give him some eyes, so let's give him 2 squares on each side, and lastly I'm going to change the color of his legs to a reddish color, and I think this is looking pretty good. Let's add it to the game. This is the golden apple in game, and he's looking pretty small and friendly, which is good because he's supposed to be a healer, and since he's a healer you're able to tame him by giving him a gold ingot. After you tame one of these guys you can right click him, which will play this cool jump animation, and it would also give you regen too for 3 seconds, which is pretty nice. And when he dies he'll drop a gold ingot because that just makes the most sense, and I think the golden apple is looking pretty cool, so I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. He makes a pretty decent healer. Next item I'm going to change is a cake. So the first thing we're going to make is his legs, and I'll make a little bend in the top part of his legs like this. Then we'll give him a little shoe. Now we can copy it to the other side. Okay, now we can begin to work on his body, and we'll shape it up to match his legs, and that's looking pretty good. Now let's give him some arms, and we can just copy this to the other side. Then we'll make sure to give him some hands as well. Okay, now let's start to work on the head. So I'll just make a big head like this and color it brown, which will be the cake. Now let's add the icing that goes on top, and we'll also make sure to add the cherries on the icing. Now let's fix the icing a little bit to make it look more like it's dripping off on the side. Okay, now I think he's ready for some eyes, so let's add those really quick, and I'll give him some eyebrows as well. Now we can finish by coloring him in, so I'm going to leave his pants black, and we'll give him a gray shirt with a red tie, and I'll just add in some extra touches, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's see how it looks in game. This is the cake man in game. He looks really good. He kind of does look like an anime character though. He also looks really tasty compared to a regular cake. Wait, no, stop, please, I didn't mean it. The cake man is very hostile as he'll attack anything near him, but if you manage to get some sugar you're able to tame him, and if you manage to tame him you pretty much have an unlimited food source, as where if you right click him it will fill your hunger bar up. And since he's strong, we'll see if he can take down a lava bucket. Okay, it doesn't look like he can, but he did get him pretty low. When he does die however, he drops a piece of bread, giving you a little bit more food out of him. I think I'm going to give the cake man a 9 out of 10. I think he turned out pretty good and he was really tasty. Next I'm going to change his strength potion, and I'm going to make it into a walking keg. First we're going to start extending these walls up a little bit to form a keg, and we'll just color it in gray for now. Now we'll just start making the walls go inward, and I'll start to form the lid that goes on top and add the part where you can open it up from. Now I'll just fix the color a little bit so it's a little bit more gray. Then we can start to work on his legs, and I'll give him some feet as well. Okay, now it's time to work on his mouth. So I'm pretty much just going to copy what I did for the lava bucket. So just give him a little opening in the center and make sure to fill the inside and color it in as well. Now let's give him some eyes. Now all that's left is to give him some details, so I'll give him a little bit of a potion dripping from his mouth and add some texture on the keg, and lastly color his legs in black. Now I think that's looking pretty good. Let's add it to the game. And this is the potion keg in game, and he is looking pretty refreshing. It's something about it is looking pretty weird. I don't know if it's his eyes though. Now just like the cake man, you're able to tame this guy as well. If you grab some nether wart, this guy can be yours forever, and once he's yours you can right click him, which will give you strength for 30 seconds, which is pretty powerful. And to see how powerful it is, I'm going to fight a cake man with the potion keg buff, and it looks like the buffs work really well as I easily defeated him. And if one of these kegs dies, he'll drop an empty bottle, which isn't really that good compared to the other ones. Overall, I think I'm going to give the potion keg a 7 out of 10. He wasn't that bad, but compared to the others, he wasn't that good. Next item I'm going to change is Suspicious Stew, and I'm going to give life to it by making a stew monster. So first we're going to start with this gray base, and we'll start making these walls that are going up and make it into more of a circle. Now we'll make these walls a lot higher as this will be the center of the pot. Now I'll make a smaller wall going around that goes inward. And I'll add another wall on top that goes back out like this. Now let's add the handles that go on the side, and we'll copy it to the other side. And I'm going to change the color a little bit more, so it's more of a black. Now it's time to give it some legs. So I'll extend some down like this, and I won't forget to give him some feet and some toes. Now let's work on giving the head that comes out of the stew. First I'm going to fill the pot. Now for the head, I'm going to give it a smaller neck first, and then we'll add a big head right on top. Then I'm going to add little pieces coming out from his head that will look like it's stew that's dripping off from his head. Now I'm going to give him some eyes. And now it's time to add the color of the stew. First I'm going to color everything light green, and I'll add in some darker greens, purple, and some brownish looking colors. And I almost forgot to give him some eyebrows, so let's add those really quick. And now I think this is looking pretty good. Let's see how it looks in game. This is the stew monster in game, and he's looking pretty good. Although not the stew though, that was looking pretty nasty. The stew monster is a really angry mob, as he'll attack anything in sight, like these sheep. He's also really strong. I gave this range attack where if it hits you, you'll get nausea too for 6 seconds, which is really annoying. He also does a ton of damage where he's almost able to 4-shot me when I'm wearing full netherite armor. And since he's so strong, let's see if he can take down a lava monster. It seems to be pretty even so far, although the knockback they take is absolutely insane. And it looks like the stew monster is stronger than the lava monster. If he does manage to die though, he'll drop another fungus, which is also pretty nasty. And since he's so nasty, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. He looked pretty good, but he definitely could have been better. And lastly, the last item I'm going to make is a slime ball. And we're going to turn his item into a slime soldier. First thing we're going to do is give this guy some legs. So we'll make him the same way we did as the cake man and copy it to the other side. Then I'll also give him some feet as well. Now let's start to make the body. So I'll just raise this up a little bit, and now I'll give him some arms and some hands as well. Now it's time to make the head, and I'll shape it a little bit at the top to make it more round. Then I'm going to color his shoes black and pants gray for now. And since this guy is going to be a soldier, we need to give him some body armor. So let's give him a vest on the front and back, and on the front of the vest we're going to give him some ammo pockets. You'll see why later. And I'm going to copy this over so he has 2. And I'm also going to give him a pocket on the side of his pants so he has more to store. Now let's give him some eyes and touch up his mouth. And I'm going to change his color so it looks more like a slime. And I'm also going to color the sleeve of his arms black. And I think that's looking pretty good. Let's see how it looks in game. This is the slime soldier in game, and he is looking pretty tall and strong. Slime soldier might have one of the coolest abilities out of every mob so far, as he has a range attack where wherever it hits the ground, it will replace the blocks with slime blocks, making it really hard to get to him. So let's see if a cake man is able to take out a slime soldier. And it looks like the cake man is having a hard time moving on the slime blocks, so it seems to be working. And yeah, the cake man didn't even stand a chance. The slime soldier is pretty strong. However, if the slime soldier does die, he will drop a slime ball, because what else would he drop? The slime soldier didn't really look that good, but he did have one of the coolest abilities. So because of that, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Subscribe if you want me to change more items into mobs.